Good morning. This is Pierre Laguerre here, your daily motivator, always here to challenge, inspire, and motivate you. So on this weekend reflections, I wanted to come out today and challenge you on living that life of impact. And the reason I have to go there is because, again, I want you to think about something. Now, many of you listening to me may be married folks, and some of you may not necessarily be married or even divorced. However, here's what I want to bring out to you. The day when you get married, or the day you witness somebody getting married, what is the one thing that happens? The two of them come together, and before God and men, they declare that they will live this life to get married, become one, and raise a family. Now, this is huge because they're making this huge declaration to the world around, knowing pretty well nowadays that marriages can end in a 50% failure rate. Now, that's crazy. You're taking, quote unquote, a chance, it would seem. And of course, that's why a lot of people would rather just have the cow and the milk for free and never pay for it. And you understand exactly what I'm saying. You know, especially some men, they'd rather, I'll keep that woman around, but I'll never marry her because I'm afraid that I may not be able to keep my commitment. And I said, Boulder Dash, you're going to have to commit at some point or the other, you know, and that commitment cannot be made in secret. So in the same way, it's kind of like, you know, getting married to the Lord. You know, he himself said, those who confess me in public, I will reward in public, and I will absolutely confess their names before my Father and his angels. But those who are ashamed of me, well, guess what? I'll be in the same way ashamed of them too. So when it comes to marriage, you cannot do it in secret. Even if you go to the justice of peace, you still want to make sure you let the world know you got married. The point is, you are doing something in front of witnesses. Well, how does that help you live a life of impact? Well, in the same way, if you want to live a life of impact, obviously you have a vision. You've got a mission that you want to accomplish. And so many times we want to tell the whole world exactly what we're doing, but we're afraid. Why exactly are you afraid to tell the world what it is you're going to do? Well, there are several reasons. One of them, of course, is you don't want to fail. Hey, what if after I do this, the dopamine release that I get from the satisfaction of people telling me, oh, that's a great plan and everything else. And of course, you understand whenever you tell people your plans and they tell you that's great, you already feel good about it. And it's as if you had accomplished that plan at some level. So many times we don't even get started. So that's the first place we can trip. You know, that can trip you up really bad if you're the type of person that always looks for people to praise you and then you don't do anything with what you said you were gonna do. So that's number one. Number two, the key here is this. You're simply afraid that if you tell the whole world what's going on, everybody's going to look at you and not believe you because they've never seen you do anything like that. So you're afraid of declaring a big goal because after all, your New Year's resolution, you didn't even keep to. I get it. But I'm going to challenge you to commit to living out loud. And the reason I say commit to living out loud is that it simply means to me, even if you fail, you're going to get up and you're going to keep going. You see, a lot of times when we commit to living out loud, we're afraid that we're going to fail. And your failures will be public. But you may say, I'm not motivated to do this, Pierre. I have no motivation whatsoever. And I would challenge you, number one, to look down the road 5, 10 years from now and paint the picture. And here's the beauty of it. If that doesn't challenge you, well, I've got the ultimate challenge for you. Pull out a pen and paper, please. I'll wait. I'll give you a few seconds to go get that pen and a piece of paper. Preferably get your notebook. And here's the quick exercise I want you to do for me. And this is important because we're talking about living a life of impact. What I want you to think on and write about right now is, if today was your last day on earth, if today suddenly you left this earth, what would the family and friends have to say about the life that you lived? Again, let me repeat it. if today was your last day on earth, if today was the last time you would reside in this earth suit of yours, once you are gone, once you are departed from here, hopefully you went to heaven and not hell, just being real, what would your family have to say about the life that you lived here? And the reason I'm asking you this question is because, on my birthday, what I think about is not necessarily the day I was born, but as I grow younger and younger in spirit, stronger and stronger in spirit, but older in my body, right? Because the body will eventually pass away. The earth suit we can maintain, but ultimately it will deteriorate at some point. I don't think so much about the day I was born as much as I think about what is my purpose here. And once I'm gone, not only how will I be remembered, but what work will I have participated in? What work will I have done that will have impacted somebody long after I'm gone? And I was challenging you to live a life out loud, because if you don't live out loud, you're going to be the world's best kept secret. And this is a tough place to be, because as the best kept secret, nobody remembers what exactly you did. I mean, you heard of certain people that lived in the 20th, 21st, and folks that have passed on, but they lived in different centuries. I mean, Shakespeare is still having an impact on literature. Mark Twain, many others are still having an impact. Believe it or not, Adam Smith is still having an impact on the economies of the world. Whether or not his philosophy was correct or exact, the fact of the matter is he's still having an impact. And my point to you is, the life you live, what is the impact? And I'll rephrase that. What is the legacy you want to leave to those that are coming after you? You see, again, as a Christian, I look at Moses and the fact that he wrote the first 5 books of the Old Testament. The fact that he wrote those books, he left an impact. Even though he never made it to the Promised Land, he left an impact on the Israelites, a huge impact. To this day, his work is still being read. I think of the Apostle Paul, who was once against Christians, even bringing them to be stoned, like he did with Stephen. And yet, once he saw the truth and he got converted, suddenly this man wrote so many letters that are still being read today. Even this weekend, people are still reading his letters, and they are conforming and transforming their lives to what he wrote. How powerful is that? Now, believe it or not, the Bible is the most popular book there is worldwide on a global level. And that includes both Moses' work and the Apostle Paul's work. Interesting, isn't it? All these different writers, they have something in common. So, I'm not going to mince any words, but to say this, it seems to me that if there is one thing the people I've mentioned today have in common, is that they wrote something, and what they wrote seemed to have outlasted centuries, and in some cases millennia. Now, you may say, what's the big deal, Pierre? Well, let's think of it this way. Every president of the United States of America have what's called their memoirs. Their memoirs, I'm trying to say it in French, of course. It's the memories of their presidency. It speaks about what they did. And of course, it is seen from their perspective, of course. They may admit some of the mistakes they made during their presidency, but the memoirs comprises most of the good things they did while they were president. My point to you is, even if they didn't write an autobiography, somebody wrote a biography of the work they did. And by the way, you can still find all these memoirs in the Library of Congress. You can still go and find all these presidential works. You know, when I grew up in Haiti, I read my book on civics, and I call it civics, but basically it was a book that taught you a whole lot about the government, what they did. And of course, there was the history book. The history book told you from the historian's perspective about each of the emperors of Haiti, the presidents of Haiti, and others who declared themselves king, emperor, whatever it is that they declared, right? But the history is there. The point I'm coming to is quite simple. You want to live a life of impact. If you're not writing about it, if you're not setting something in stone that people can remember you by and the work that you've done, soon and very soon, you will be just a memory. Maybe to your immediate family, and that will be all. And that's okay, because billions of people live lives whose stories are untold. But then there are a few million that decided the story will be told, that decided my purpose is too big just to leave it to chance. My vision is too huge just to leave it to chance. I will do something. And my point to you is this: to motivate you, I want you to think about your last day here, because until you think about your last day here, you will not move to do anything, to lift a finger, if you are totally demoralized, not motivated to do anything. You may have hit some hard times, and those things are looking you square in the face, but you're gonna have to move forward. You can't stay there. Remember, trouble comes, but it doesn't last always. And speaking as one who's experienced it, I can tell you, it's a choice that I make every day to go past my troubles, to go past my circumstances, to step into what is possible, even though from the onset it may look impossible. So I want to motivate you, but like one friend told me, motivation doesn't work. But it's not that it doesn't work, it's that we are looking for motivation from the wrong angle, from the wrong origin. What will motivate you more than anything else, and I'll never stop reminding you, is thinking about what will you do today so that when you leave this earth tomorrow, what you've done remains. But more importantly, what you've done can be written about, and people can clearly see that you lived the life out loud. You may not have been perfect. None of us is, except Jesus, the only one that was. However, you strove to leave a legacy that others could inherit from. And your immediate family not only inherited your spiritual, but also the financial aspect of it as well. And this is one that unfortunately many people stand against, but that's their problem, not yours. What you know is this Bible, the richest man who ever lived said, a good man will leave an inheritance. He will leave, rather, an inheritance to his children's children. Because it happened for him. His father left him an inheritance, and he wanted to perpetuate that towards his children, and it was indeed perpetuated towards them. So, will you do the exercise? It's a simple exercise. What I invite you to is to take the legacy quiz. And you can find it on eonthemove.com/legacy-quiz. Again, that's the legacy quiz to really find out how serious you are about leaving a legacy for at least your next generation of offsprings that you're leaving here. And if you have none, it's okay. You should still leave something behind for those that absolutely are coming after you. And even if it was given to the poor, at least you've still had an impact. Maybe you leave behind some scholarships. Who knows? But my point to you is, go down to the end of the road and then look back. If what you see is not good enough for you, again, it's in your eyes, I tell you, it's time to start laying new tracks. It's time to start going in a new direction. And every time I do this exercise, I always recognize there's more to the life I want to live. And I want to live a life out loud. I want to live a life where the blessing of the Lord comes upon me and my family, but it's not going to happen by mistake. Just like success doesn't happen by mistake. A Boeing doesn't get built. A huge 747 doesn't get built by mistake by monkeys. No, men make plans and they build it. The same way your success in this life is not going to happen by mistake. You're going to have to commit to it. You're going to have to declare it. You're going to have to write it somewhere, and then you're going to have to keep working at it. And even when you fail at it, you're going to have to remind yourself it's about the impact you want to leave. It's about the legacy you want to live. Again, eonthemove.com/legacy-quiz. Take the quiz and check out your legacy readiness. It's Pierre. I'll catch you on the next episode.